intellectually. In reality comes all the dua. If we are truly one with this Ism Azam Al Hayy, if we become one with this name, ever living, then we are one with Mawla. Shukran lillah, walhamdulillah, shukran lillah, walhamdulillah. So today we are gathered here with Mawla's mercy to continue our study of Book of Healing, Quranic Healing, Part 1. And today we start a beautiful, amazing chapter, Spiritual Science, Part 1. G.
Uh, we are reading the book of healing, Quranic healing, starting a new chapter, Spiritual Science, Part 1, ebook page 83. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Spiritual Science, Part 1. Point number 1. Science is knowledge in which the universe is observed and studied, and new inventions are made through experiments. Radio, telephone, telegram, photography, cinema, space rocket, aeroplane, torpedo, rail, motor, etc. All these inventions have come into existence due to this science. Through medical science, the causes of countless diseases and their cure have been discovered. This knowledge is as extensive as it is important. Among all the sciences of the world, it is the one which has brought a great revolution in the life of humankind, and thereby we can observe new progress every day. This is the definition of material science, which you can take as an example of spiritual science.
Subhanallah, Subhanallah. So, before we start discussing this paragraph, I would like to comment that it is truly beautiful to see all these friends who are interested in studying the book. However, after so many chapters, I do see that very many of you do come prepared to read the Quranic verses. So the objective is of reading this book or having book sessions to read together to understand it, as well as become independent and learn how to read. When we read, we always have our Quran open, we have our highlighter with us, and those who further want to um, have good references should have a notebook as well where they can write all these related references. So today we have an amazing chapter which is a spiritual science. And Kareem read for us beautifully that how we see whatever in this world in terms of medical sciences, all these sciences are there to help us cure physical diseases and physical problems. But in reality, we see spiritual science also existing. Though when we see material science, progressing, we see all these inventions, right? Radio, telephone, telegram, cinema, and whatnot. And what is realized or what is said that this is all due to the advancement of material science. But in reality, actually, it is realization of the spiritual science. Spiritual science, when it is understood and recognized, the mankind, when they recognize the spiritual science, they label it as material science. It is about progress. And let me give an example to make it easy. For example, when there was a time when we used to have telephone booths, right? Or one in the whole community will have a phone, and we will have to all get there to access the phone to call outside state or outside country. But imagine now, we all cannot imagine our lives without phone. We would not go out without a cell phone, right? And cell phone has made it so easy and simple for us to be able to talk to anybody, anyone, any corner of the world, right? We can talk to anybody in any part of the world. So when we look at these examples, does it mean that physical sciences are progressing, but spiritual science is not seen anywhere else? In reality, it is the realization of the spiritual science which is labeled as material science or physical science. For example, um, those Momin Salikin, when they progress spiritually, and this is not today, this is not yesterday, it has happened all throughout the times, that they would be able to talk to each other in their heart. No need of any equipment as per se, and you can call it as telepathy. They will be able to observe each other, what condition or what situation they are, or what would they need, what are they needing right now. All that is realized within their being without any need of any equipment. So, in reality, when the physical world progresses due to the spiritual uh, rahmat, Ruhani barakat and duashes and rahmat, what happens? There is a physical progress. And now we see these gadgets, telephone, radio, aeroplane, whatever we are seeing in today's world, these are very tiny example of what is already existing in the spiritual world. And this, when we realize this makes us, you know, realize how important it is to know about the spiritual science. Because whatever impresses us in the physical world is due to spiritual science. Those who are not into, you know, learning of spirituality, they have to identify these things and they have to label it. And that's how we hear spiritual, physical science and radio or telephone or whatnot. Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah talks about this in his memoir, saying that it is proto science and proto religion. They are actually interconnected. They are not, separate as per se. So whatever we are seeing in this physical world, due to the sciences, medical sciences has progressed, and now we have discovered so many treatments for physical illnesses. Can we imagine if we were to understand the spiritual sciences and are able to identify and get the treatment from a spiritual science? What would be the state of our life? How would we be living in the physical world? All these are actually very important reflection points for us. In reality, when we look at this paragraph, it is pretty simple paragraph. It is very simple. When you read it, you understand it. There's nothing, no Quranic words in there. There's nothing, difficult concept. But it requires us to really sit down and go into khayal, batul khayal. We really have to reflect that how does telephone would work in spirituality. If I were not to have this telephone, how would I be communicating? what would what do I need to have in my personal world to be able to talk to Karim here, who is sitting in London right now, 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. in the morning, and he's reading this book with us. What if I want to talk to him without any need of any virtual, any equipment, any scientific discoveries? How do I talk to him? Can I close my eyes and call him and talk to him? He will receive and he will say yes. What can I do? Can we talk like that? Is it possible? Very much it is possible. However, because we have blocked our thinking, we have blocked our, progress of our thoughts, the world of khayal, the world of imagination. We have not given it a flight to go further out to be able to see that how can we have all these within our being without these gadgets, because it all does exist. And inshallah, the more we read, the more we will realize that how it is all available for us. So this knowledge will bring revolution. It will bring revolution if we were to understand this of course, in the world, in the life of mankind. And we will be able to observe, New progress every day, new progress. Are we not progressing already? Are we not seeing every day new invention? And nowadays, the way we hear AI, and every day we hear something new about AI. So progress is happening. How about spiritual progress? Are we able to see that? Is there a revolution happening in the spiritual progress as well? Are we witnessing it? All these are beautiful concepts, questions to reflect on. G.
Point number 2. There is no doubt that as the external observation and study of the material universe is material science, similarly the internal observation of it is spiritual science. Since spiritual science is eternally linked with the light of God and His regency, therefore, first of all, it was taught to Hazrat Adam, the father of humankind, through the supreme names. All know that God had taught him all the names without any omission. Among these names, as a principle, first come his supreme names, under whose sovereignty come the names of all other things. In this divine teaching, which was given to the vice-regent of God on the earth, we have to think and ask, was he taught only the verbal pronunciation of every name or the spiritual reality also? The answer certainly is that in the school of supreme vice-regency, names and the named ones all were in the form of realities and recognitions. That is, Hazrat Adam knew the origin and reality of everything. Such knowledge is called the science of the realities of things. Ilme Hakaki Iki Ashya. This is the old name of spiritual science.
Subhanallah. So let me quickly review in Gujarati briefly. આપણે આ ચેપ્ટરમાં વાંચી રહ્યા છીએ કે જ્યારે આપણે સાયન્ટિફિક ઇન્વેન્શન જોઈએ છીએ દુનિયાના અંદર તો આપણે એમ લાગે છે કે સાયન્સ તરક્કી કરી રહી છે અને આપણે જેવી રીતે રેડિયો ટીવી અને રોકેટ ને કેમેરા કે સેલફોન બધું જોઈએ છે તો બધી આ દુનિયાવી તરક્કી લાગે છે પણ હકીકતના અંદર આ બધી તરક્કી છે ને આ એક ઝલક છે રૂહાની તરક્કીની અને રૂહાનિયતના અંદર આ બધી ચીજો જોઈ શકાય છે જેવી રીતે દુનિયાના અંદર આપણે મેડિકલ સાયન્સ દવાઈઓમાં ખૂબ તરક્કી જોઈએ છે મોટી મોટી બીમારીઓના ઇલાજ પણ થાય છે તે બધી ચીજો જે છે એ રૂહાનિયતની બરકાતથી થઈ રહી છે આ બધી ચીજો રૂહાનિયતના અંદર પહેલેથી મોજૂદ છે તો દુનિયાના અંદર જ્યારે આપણે આ બધી ચીજો જોઈએ છીએ કે કેવી રીતે દુનિયાવી તરક્કી કે મેડિકલ સાયન્સના અંદર તરક્કી આ બધી ઇન્વેન્શન્સ થાય છે તો આપણે એવું લાગે છે કે આ બધું લિમિટેડ ટુ દુનિયા છે પણ હકીકતના અંદર રૂહાનિયતની દુનિયાના અંદર એક ઇન્કલાબ આવે છે એક રેવોલ્યુશન આવે છે જેની વજહથી આપણે આ બધી ચીજો તરક્કી દુનિયાના અંદર માણસોની લાઈફના અંદર આપણે આ જોઈ શકીએ છીએ અને એમાં કોઈ શક નથી કે જ્યારે જ્યારે આપણે આ દુનિયાની સ્ટડી કરીએ છીએ અને આ દુનિયાના અંદર જેટલી સાયન્સ છે એની સ્ટડી કરીએ છીએ તો જેટલું આપણે એનો મુશાહિદો કરીએ એને ઓબ્ઝર્વેશન કરીએ તો ખબર પડે છે કે આ બધી રૂહાની સાયન્સની વજહથી જ છે રૂહાની સાયન્સ જે છે ને ખુદાની સાયન્સ રૂહાનિયત જે છે ને એ ખુદાથી જોડાયેલી છે અને ખુદાના ખલીફાથી જોડાયેલી છે ખુદાના ખલીફા પહેલે કોણ હતા હઝરત આદમ હતા હઝરત આદમનું એક ટાઇટલ છે અબુલ બશર બધાઓના બાપ અને ઇંગ્લિશના અંદર એને કહેવાય વાઇસચેરન્ટ ખલીફા હતા ખુદાના અને જ્યારે ખુદાએ હઝરત આદમને બધાએ નામ શીખાવી નાખ્યા કયા નામ ઇસ્મે આઝમ જ્યારે ખુદાએ એને નામ શીખાવી નાખ્યા અને ખુદાએ જ્યારે એને પૂછ્યું કે તું મને નામ બતાવ તો વગર કોઈ ભૂલે વગર કોઈ નામ ભૂલ્યા વગર કોઈ મિસ્ટેક કર્યા વગર કોઈને મૂક્યા વગર હઝરત આદમ અલૈહિસ્સલામ જે છે બધી ચીજોના નામ એને બતાવી દે છે તો જ્યારે આ બધા નામ બતાવે છે તો નામ તો ઇસ્મે આઝમ છે આપણે કીધું યા અલી આ તો નામ છે પણ હકીકતના અંદર કાનૂન શું છે કે નામ તો એક હોય પણ નામના એ મિસાલ નહીં આપણે કે નામ જે છે ને એક અમ્બ્રેલાની મિસાલ પર છે. જ્યારે આપણે અમ્બ્રેલાના અંદર જોતા હોઈએ તો એક સેન્ટર પોઈન્ટ હોય છે અને પછી સેન્ટરથી બધા કાંટા નીકળેલા હોય અને એ આખી અમ્બ્રેલા એના સાથે જોડેલી હોય. તો કહેવામાં તો એ એક અમ્બ્રેલા કહેવાય પણ એમાં બધું જોડાયેલું હોય છે. એવી જ રીતે જ્યારે આપણે કહીએ કે યા અલી કિસ્મે આઝમ છે તો એ એક નામ છે પણ એ એક નામથી બધી ચીજો જોડાયેલી છે. આખી કાયનાતની બધી ચીજોની જે તાલીમાત છે એ એક નામથી જોડાયેલી છે. તો આ જે ચીજ છે એ બહુ ઇમ્પોર્ટન્ટ છે કે આપણે સમજીએ કે હઝરત આદમ જેને અબુલ બશર કહેવામાં આવે છે, જ્યારે ખુદા એને બધાએ નામ શીખાડ્યા તો અને પૂછ્યા તો એ બધાએ નામ એને કહી દીધા, બધાએ નામ. અને આ ખુદાની રહેમતથી કે એને બધી ચીજોના નામ શીખાવવામાં આવ્યા હતા. અને આપણે ખબર છે, આપણે જાણીએ છીએ કે જ્યારે ફિરિશ્તાઓને ખુદાએ કીધું કે તમે આદમને સજદો કરો તો ફરિશ્તાએ કીધું કે અમે કેમ એને સજદો કરીએ? તો ખુદા કહે છે કે હું જે જાણું છું તમે જાણતા નથી. અને જ્યારે ખુદાએ આદમને નામ પૂછ્યા તો આદમે બધાએ નામ બતાવી નાખ્યા. અને જ્યારે ફિરિશ્તાએ આ ચીજ જોઈ, એ લોકો આ જે ચીજ સાંભળી તો તરત જ એ લોકો ખુદાને આદમને સજદો કરી દીધો. અને આ ચીજ કે ખુદાએ આદમને બધા નામ શીખાડ્યા હતા, એકચ્યુઅલી એને જ સ્પિરિચ્યુઅલ સાયન્સ કહેવામાં આવે છે. એનું જે જૂનું નામ છે એને કહેવાય છે ઇલ્મે હકાઈક અશ્યા. ઇલ્મ નોલેજ, હકાઈક રિયાલિટીઝ, અશ્યા મીનિંગ થિંગ્સ. જેટલી બી ચીજોની હકીકત છે ને, હકીકત એની મારિફત એ આદમને શીખાવી દેવામાં આવી હતી. Here a question will rise that why this paragraph mentions Adam? Why not Noah? Why not Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam? There are several reasons. Number one, it gives us that he is the father of humankind, Abul Bashar. So he was the first Khalifa of Allah who was taught all the names. Which names? Supreme names. When he had learned all these names and when Allah asked him, he does not miss any name. Another important element we'll have to remember in the example of Adam, because Adam he began his journey as Mustajib. Adam was not from Nurani family. He was a Mu'min like one of us. But when he receives the Isme Azam from the Imam of the time, the way he does the ibadat, such honest ibadat that he is able to, the way we discussed the example of umbrella, right? In the center, it is connected to all the rods. The whole umbrella is connected to the center. By getting that center, by understanding, by completing, by realizing the um, hakikat of that name, he was able to understand and learn everything else. All the realities and recognition of the whole world was taught to him within his being. He had not left anything unlearned. He knew everything. And he was tested because all the angels asked Allah, why should we prostrate to him? And Allah says, I know what you not know. And as Allah asked Adam, Adam is able to give all the names without omitting anything. As soon as angels saw that, they prostrated immediately to him. And we do know in this story that Azazel became proud and he said, why do I bow to him? Because I am made of fire and he is made of dust. And he does not bow down to Adam. Anyways, what we are focusing here, that due to the Isme Azam, Adam had learned the realities of all the things, anything in the world. Let it be medical science, let it be physical science, anything you can think of, all was taught, he knew within his batin. And that was the name in the olden time of a spiritual science. The way the world progressed and we called physical sciences, so came the name spiritual sciences. But in Quran, it mentions ilmul ashya, the name of all the things. And we are understanding that it was not simply just the names. It was not about the names, but what was the reality of those names. That is what was taught to Hazrat Adam as salam being the vicegerent of Allah on this planet, being the Khalifa. And he is the one who is given the supreme vicegerency, the supreme अजीम खिलाफत उनको अता की. क्यों? क्योंकि उन्होंने इसमें आजम को कंप्लीट किया था. Very important, though we are studying spiritual science, what is the foundation here? Isme Azam. What do we need to do? Ibadat. So if we understand this principle that Ibadat, along with this knowledge to realize what a treasure we have in the form of the Isme Azam, how important it is to do our ibadat, so we can also get to this spiritual science, the hidden realities of all the things which are actually within that name. You know that name, when we say Yali, Yali is just few words, few alphabets connected, and we say Yali. It doesn't seem strong and powerful. We say, okay, it is Maula's name. But do we really recognize and realize the power of this name? Imagine, we just read in the first paragraph that telephone, rocket, aeroplane, space rocket, cinema, everything is actually due to the spiritual science. And that spiritual science can be attained by working on the Isme Azam. That is what Adam did. If Adam is successful due to this practice and he was taught all the names, इल्म वाली रूह दर्जा ब दर्जा ऊपर चढ़ती है. We learn from this knowledge that if we also learn the knowledge and do the ibadat, we can also attain whatever is hidden from our heart, our mind, our intellect. Before we go further, in Urdu, it mentions two of the verses. So let's review those verses. So we continue to highlight our Quran and remember, when we read about Adam, we read about the names, we always remember that these are the verses. So the related verse which is mentioned in Urdu Book of Healing is Surah Baqarah, verse 31. Ji. आज शमीम नहीं है हमारे साथ, तो कोई और उर्दू पढ़ सकता है.
सूरह बकरा सूरह 2 वर्स 31 और अल्लाह ताला ने आदम को तमाम नाम सिखाकर उन चीज़ों को फरिश्तों के सामने पेश किया और फरमाया, अगर तुम सच्चे हो तो उन चीज़ों के नाम बताओ.
Surah Baqarah, Surah 2, Ayat 31. And he taught Adam the names, all of them. Then he showed them to the angels and said, inform me of the names of these if you are truthful. Shukran.
Subhanallah. So alama Adam al asma kulha, all the names. Due to one Isma Azam, when a Mu'min and Salik elevates, when the tarakki happens, promotion happens in Zahir or Batin, one name, two name, three names, all the names are taught in the Batin of a Mu'min and Salik. And then, of course, there is nothing hidden from them. So we have to highlight this verse in our Quran. And then the second verse is mentioned is chapter 7, verse 180. Okay, I will read the
सूरह
Urdu and Ji.
माफी सूरह 7 वर्स 180 और अच्छे अच्छे नाम अल्लाह ही के लिए हैं, सो उन नामों से अल्लाह ही को मौसूम किया करो और ऐसे लोगों से ताल्लुक भी न रखो जो उसके नामों में कजी रवि करते हैं. उन लोगों को उनके किए की जरूर सजा मिलेगी.
Surah Al-Araf, Surah 7, Ayat 180. And to Allah belong the best names, so invoke Him by them, and leave those who practice deviation concerning His names. They will be recompensed for what they have been doing.
Such a beautiful verse, right? It talks about, we normally do the zikr of this verse as well, right? Allahumma inni as'aluka bi asma'ika al-husna. That call upon Allah with His beautiful names, invoke Him with His beautiful names. So all the zikr we do, all these azam given in Quran, all are His beautiful names, and we have to call upon Him with all the beautiful names because this is His command, this is His farman, and we have to follow this farman. And very interestingly, it says also that those who do not practice this, they will be dealt with. Those in Urdu, I like the Urdu translation. It says those who are, conjuice in taking the name. When we don't do zikr in abundance, when we don't do enough zikr, it says that those who do conjuicy. Can you imagine that this is how also our generosity is also checked? That are we generous with our time? Are we doing abundant zikr or not? If we don't do that, then Allah says, इनके किए की सजा उनको जरूर मिलेगी. We all have to understand that when we want to make our whole day be with Imam. There are so many beautiful ways to invoke him, to call upon him, to invite him into our heart, to take his name. Isme Azam, ilmi work, different zikr, askar. But important thing is that we have to continue to remember him. So these are the two verses which we need to highlight in our Quran and continue to think about it. Ji.
Point number 3. Just as physical cure is founded on the basis of medical science, Quranic healing is founded on the basis of spiritual science. Therefore, it is necessary to discuss this subject so that everything is clear in the light of true knowledge. It should be known that spiritual science, under the title of spirituality, is attainable by every pious Muslim in the light of the teachings of the wise Quran and the sound hadiths. Its attainment is extremely necessary, particularly in the present time. The time has come when the nations of the world may yearn for it and may realize its paramount importance and benefit. Anyhow, spiritual science has always been there, but its complete manifestation is going to take place now.
Subhanallah, subhanallah. So it's a beautiful forecast. I would say that according to the time, we are learning, we are reading that we are going to see very many changes in the physical world. And we are. I mean, from our childhood, if we take on upon only our lives, I remember as a child, we had a black and white TV. We used to see black and white TV. And now look at us, we have TV in our fingertips, right? So all these inventions which are happening, all this progress is happening. Do we think the spiritual progress will not happen? All these changes, all this barakat in the physical world is actually due to the spirituality. The time has come on this planet that Ruhani Taraqi will become very, very fast, very easy. For whom? For Ismailis first. Why? Because Imam is with us. How are we going to get that? Through Isme Azam. And it is very much made possible for us that if we are sincere, if we are genuinely desiring to elevate ourselves, Ruhani Taraqi has been made very, very easy for us. Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah has talked about it in his first Farman in great detail about these things. That there will be very many miracles happening. Only those who have knowledge and those who have Iman, they will be able to see it, believe it, and benefit from it. Those who do not have Iman, they will not realize what is happening. So, any invention which we are seeing in this world is actually due to the spirituality, spiritual time. On our planet, the times have changed because of the time of Qiyamah. In the time of Qiyamah, what happens? Everything is folded. Everything is folded, meaning that It is a process of returning back to its origin. The Noor of Imam has come very near us. There are no hudud-e-deen in between. A Mu'min Salik with his ibadat, with his riyazat, is able to elevate himself or herself to the Noor of Imam very easily, because Imam has made this path easy. However, remember, this book is written for the Ummah. So beautifully, Allama Sahib is saying here that it should be known that spiritual science under the title of spirituality is attainable by every pious Muslim. Any Muslim brother or sister who will work in the light of the teaching of the wise Quran. If we understand this Quran and its wisdom, we will believe in Imam actually, because the whole Quran talks about Imam. Sound ahadith, meaning sound, meaning authentic, those which is accepted by majority of the scholars that they are true sayings of the Prophet. All those ahadith is plural, hadith is singular. So all those sound ahadith, if we truly understand, will guide us to Imam only. And if we believe in Imam, if we accept Imam, if we are in Farman Bardari of Imam, we will have Ismail Azam, because that's what Imam asks us. That if you want to elevate, Hakiki Sukh ki kunji ibadat hai. If we want to elevate, we need Ismail Azam. And when we start doing honest ibadat with understanding of the knowledge, क्या होगा? बहुत ज्यादा, बहुत तेजी से रूहानी तरक्की होगी. तमाम माजिजात खुद के अंदर दिखाई दिए जाएंगे. And when it says that in this physical world, we will see its complete manifestation. Spiritual science has always been there, but its complete manifestation is going to take place now. In reality, when we look at our telephone, it is an example of a spiritual science. If we see even AI, people talk about artificial intelligence. They think that they are making this all, right? They're inventing it. But this is all due to the spiritual science and its progress, and it's due to Ruhaniyat. It is all due to Ruhaniyat. In the time of Qiyamah, Quran says, the way we were listening to the zikr, Waj'a Rabbuka wal Malaku Safan Safa. It is Surah Fajr, chapter 89, verse 22, which says, Waja'a Rabbuka wal Malaku Safan Safa. That during these times, in the time of Qiyamah, the Lord Himself will come down with His army of angels. And this army will be working everywhere in the whole world. And we will be witnessing miracles. So these scientists have been working on different things for such a long time. Why now? Why? What is happening? What has changed? That they are able to progress so fast, they're able to see things, they're able to, bring so many invention out. It is all due to the Ruhaniyat, which is existing in its today's time. Why? Because it is the time of manifestation. Everything which was hidden in the time of Dore Satar, it is now being manifested. And due to that manifestation, the uh, uh, its effect, the effects of its manifestations, we see in our physical world. The way Quran says that you will see the signs of Allah in your outer world and your inner world. So inner world is to do with batin or personal world. But you can also see these signs outside in the outer world. And earlier, when we used to study in these classes, we would talk about sun, moon, and stars. Yes, they are there and they are always there. But in today's time, we are also seeing all the progress which is being done in the physical world. So yes, there is nature, and along with the nature, whatever changes are happening in the physical world are also an indication, a sign for us to see how the world, due to Ruhaniyat, is progressing. The way Imam Sultan Ahmad Shah says that When a momin is salik, wherever they see soul friend. Jya joe she ru dos na joe she. That is one way of understanding that whenever we see each other, we see soul friend. But according to this verse of Quran, chapter 41, verse 53, wherever you will see, you will find him because there are signs everywhere. There are signs everywhere. Nothing is void of without his signs. Everything is full and filled with his signs. But we do need those eyes to be able to see it. So I think I have started the next point as well. Ji Kareem, go ahead and read that so we can continue quickly.
Point number 4. Although according to you and us, material science and spiritual science are separate, but in the sight of God and the Prophet, they are together one chain. The only difference is that the initial part of it is material science and the last part of it is spiritual science. In other words, external science is related to the external world, afaq, and the internal science to the spiritual world, anfus. Both of them are among the miracles of God. Surah 41, Ayat 53. And in both lies betterment and success of the world and the hereafter.
Subhanallah. So let's review this verse, chapter 41, verse 53. Ji.
सूरह 41 वर्स 53 अनकरीब हम उन्हें अपनी निशानियां आफाक आलम में भी दिखाएंगे और खुद उनकी अपनी ज़ात में भी यहाँ तक कि उन पर खुल जाए कि हक यही है क्या आपके रब का हर चीज़ से वाकिफ का होना काफ़ी नहीं
Surah 41, Ayat 53. We will show them our signs in the horizons and within themselves until it becomes clear to them that it is the truth. But is it not sufficient concerning your Lord that He is over all things a witness?
Subhanallah, subhanallah. So, very clear verse, very important verse, that He will show us the signs within the horizon and within ourselves. So, yes, if we were to study, we see signs outside and we also see the signs inside. And they are there. And these signs will be there for us until we realize it. For us to be able to realize that, we have been taught the path, and the path is of Ism Azam, Amal, which is Ism Azam, and Il. So, Ilm or Amal, Ism Azam, and the knowledge, they go hand in hand for us to be able to realize that whatever we see in the horizon, in the afaq, and then whatever we see within ourselves, microcosm. In reality, it is talking about one and the same thing. People, the way they think that they are separate thing, whatever is material science and spiritual science, but in reality, it is one end of the rope is material science and the other end of the rope is a spiritual science. So can you imagine for a Momin and Salih, those who are, good in ilm amal, in their ibadat, in their knowledge, what will happen? For them, they will be able to see the spiritual part of the rope very quickly. Though it says that one end is the material science, the other end is the spiritual science. But for a Momin and Salik, if they are walking on the path with knowledge and practice, what will happen? They will be able to see the Ruhanian from very beginning. For them, all those veils have been removed. पर्दे सारे हट गए हैं उनको सब नजर आता है उनको सब समझ आती है तो how beautiful it is that for them everything becomes evident and clear. Ji, well, let's read the next point as well.
Point number 5. When Hazrat Adam, according to the command of God, taught the angels the science of names, what language was he using? Did he use the physical tongue or the spiritual tongue? Were all the angels gathered in front of him? If not, How was his voice reaching them? Surah 2, Ayat 33. Regarding this key reality, we have to accept that Hazrat Adam used to give this knowledge in the heart's voice, which the angels of the entire universe heard in their respective places. This we can call spiritual science. Further, he also had a world of particles, alam-e-zar, personal world, which in Sufism is called microcosm.
Subhanallah. So this is the point I was waiting, that when we are talking about afaq and anfus, that within ourselves, microcosm. Another name for microcosm is, we all know, personal world, but then it is also alam-e-zar, the world of particles. So can we imagine that there are so many different terms we use for one hakikat, one reality? Again, we need our notebooks to write it down so we remember what are different terms to keep our concepts very clear. So when we talk of anfus from chapter 41, verse 53, if we were to talk of world of particles, if we say microcosm, if we say alam-e-shaksi, all these refer to one thing, which is our own inner world. The whole universe is within us. So when a Mu'min and Salik is able to realize what is within him and what is outside, when he's able to understand all the nishaniya with ilm amal, what happens to him? Surely he starts running. तरक्की होने लगती है, रूहानियत में खूब तरक्की होती है, कामयाबी होती है. And when there is success in the physical world as well as in the spiritual world, that Mu'min Salik becomes Mu'min Mujahid, reaching to the level of becoming an Arif and becoming one with Imam, Fana Fillah. All that is possible for Mu'min Salik. Again, we have the example of Hazrat Adam alayhi salam. Hazrat Adam alayhi salam, who had learned all the names of, which was taught to him, right? All the names of Allah he had learned. How did he teach it to the angels? Very, very critical question. Did he go to every angel to teach them? No. In reality, those who obeyed, those who prostrated to him, those who did not support Azazel, they believed that Adam was exalted because he knew the names. They became Farman Bardar to the Lord and prostrated to Adam. Immediately they got connected to the inner world of Adam. By obedience to Imam, how are we connected to Hazrat Imam? Do we understand this connection? When we are in Farman Bardari of Imam and Imam says, "You're always with me. I'm always thinking of you. You're always in my thoughts, in my prayers." So how is it happening? Because we are connected to Hazrat Imam through spirituality. We all are connected. And how did this connection came about? When we became obedient, we said, "Ya Mawla, we are in bayah of you. We are Farman Bardar, we are your Mominin." We all became connected to Imam. Similarly, when angels accepted Adam, number one, they became angels because they accepted the Adam. When they accepted the Adam and Adam's talimat came to them, how did they came? Within their personal world. In the miraculous means and ways of Ruhaniyat, all those Mu'minins who were angels were taught in their heart. When we hear this thing, right, that somebody was given Isma Azam in their batin, we get very surprised. Is it possible even? How can this happen? It happens. How it happens? Because when we believe that we are connected to Imam and we meet all the conditions of Zikr Ibadat, Ilm Amal, we see the miracles. So exactly same process has been explained to us, that how in the time of Adam, who was 7,000 years ago, How had he taught all those names to the angels? And it was beautifully given, all that knowledge was given in the voice of the heart, and which the angels of the entire universe heard in their respective places. The physical planet, when we look at it, it's a huge planet, right? If there was no um, Google Drive, or no virtual meeting, no Zoom meeting, no GoToMeeting, how did Adam reach to them? Because we believe in this kind of connection, right? That we are on the forum and this platform and we are able to listen and see. We don't believe that Batni Tor also we can connect to each other, because we have not reflected on it. It's not, I would say we don't believe, we have never even thought that we can do that. In reality, today what we are realizing, that we are capable of doing that as well. How? Through the example of Hazrat Adam alayhi salam, we are learning that he, being one person, one individual, he was able to reach out to the whole universe, wherever those angels were. He was able to reach out to them, to teach them in their heart, teach them all the names in their heart. How was it happening? Remember the concept of world of particles. Now, very interestingly, when we say world of particles, we are saying personal world. Now, personal world is within ourselves. So how are we able to say that he was reaching out to different places in the universe when the personal world is limited to within our being? And you would be right. But remember that all these majizat, all these miracles actually happens within the personal world of Arif Kamil, like Hazrat Adam alayhi salam. Hazrat Adam alayhi salam, because he knew all this knowledge, all the souls who prostrated to him within the Alam Shaksi, all this knowledge was given to all those angels who were obedient to him in his bayat, as well as they could reach him, he could reach them. So in one way, we are able to see that how this spiritual science is working within the personal world, within the microcosm. But it also works outside as well. And today, for us to be able to see how is it happening, all these scientific inventions which we see is due to spiritual sciences. It is all due to Ruhani Tarakki and Ruhaniyat. Otherwise, there is no way possible that the physically world would progress this much. The physical world has progressed because of this time of Qiyamah, where Ruhaniyat has been made so easy for Momin Salik. Any Momin who becomes a Mustajib is able to elevate their ranks, and we do know Imam has said, and we know it now by heart, ilm wali ruh darja ba darja chalti hai. Those who seek knowledge and they do honest ibadat, for them everything is within their reach. Shukran lillah walhamdulillah, shukran lillah walhamdulillah. So inshallah next time we will start with point number 6. Ji.
Subhanallah, Subhanallah, Subhanallah. You know, it is amazing when we hear in Sultan Muhammad Shah's Farman, we used to hear about where did Adam come from and think about all of these things. And then Sultan Muhammad Shah also talks about Alam Zar, you know, so it you know gives us such a different um, perspective that yes, and Asuluddin too. So it gives us so much of more understanding when we are relating it to a subject like spiritual science, because at times we are so lost that we use all of this technology and all of these blessings which we have, and I think we have all realized it much more after COVID, that how important these blessings are when we were not able to see each other or meet. You know, these became such a reality for us which we had never imagined. So just behind that concept or behind that thinking about having spiritual science as much is available at all time and from past time too. It just gives a like such a joy
Goosebumps.
in our heart, but it gives such a when you talk about you have mentioned a hadith, ya Mola, increase in my heret.
Hmm.
So it brings us to that point that it's so surprising that we have never thought of it, but 20 years ago when we think about it, we didn't have phones and computers and all of that. And now, so imagining that spiritual science has been there forever, we have been so ignorant in that sense, but truly blessed to be able to know this today and move forward with this, that inshallah with this true knowledge we understand this, that spiritual science, how important it is. So it's beautiful, beautiful concept. I think we need to reflect a whole lot more on this to be able to open our personal worlds, inshallah.
Thank you,
Friends,
Nafisa.
if you, yeah.
The beautiful sharing of your thoughts. I see here, I think Zulfikar is saying that we need to talk about point 4 and 5 in Gujarati. So let me briefly say it, summarize it in Gujarati, and then we'll continue with the question and answer. I think it is an important point. તો અહીંયા જે બે પોઈન્ટના અંદર જે કહેવામાં આવ્યું છે, જે આપણે વાત કરી ઉપર બી પહેલા, કે દુનિયામાં જે ચીજો આપણે બહાર જોઈએ છીએ ને, જેવી રીતે આપણે મિસાલ દઈએ છીએ કે ફોન છે, કે એરોપ્લેન છે, કે કમ્પ્યુટર છે, આ બધી ચીજો, આ બધી એકચ્યુઅલી ખુદાની નિશાનીઓ છે. અને આ નિશાનીઓ કી ચીજની છે? રૂહાની તરક્કીની નિશાનીઓ છે. કેમ કે રૂહાનિયતમાં આ બધી ચીજો પહેલેથી પ્રેઝન્ટ મોજૂદ છે. એની મિસાલ દઈએ, એક મિસાલ દઉં, બહુ જ ઇમ્પોર્ટન્ટ મિસાલ, કે આપણે જ્યારે બધાયના આમાલનામા છે અને દુનિયાના અંદર કેટલા માણસો છે, અનલિમિટેડ માણસો છે, તો ખુદાના પાસે આપણે વિચાર કરીએ કેવો કમ્પ્યુટર હશે, કોણસી ડ્રાઈવ, ગૂગલ ડ્રાઈવ હશે કે વન ડ્રાઈવ હશે કે કઈ જાતની ડ્રાઈવ હશે. ખુદાના પાસે બહુ જ સફિસ્ટિકેટેડ એક બહુ જ આલિશાન એક નિઝામ છે, જેવી રીતે એ આપણા બધાના આમાલનો રેકોર્ડ રાખે છે. ઠીક છે ને? તો એ જે આમાલનામાની જે ચોપડી છે, જે ખુદાના પાસે છે, એનો એક ઝલક, એનો એક નમૂનો જે છે ને, આજે કમ્પ્યુટર છે કે ડ્રાઈવ છે, આ બધી ચીજો જે બની રહી છે, એ રૂહાનિયતની ઝલકો છે જે આપણે દુનિયાના અંદર જોઈ રહ્યા છે. બીજી મિસાલ અગર આપણે લઈએ કે એરોપ્લેન ઉડે છે, તો એરોપ્લેનની મિસાલ જે છે એ બર્ડના ઉપરથી છે, કે બર્ડ ફ્લાય કરે છે તો એરોપ્લેન પણ ફ્લાય કરે છે. પણ આપણા પીરે આપણે સમજાવ્યું, કીધું કે પાંખડિયા જો હોવે તો શાને જય મળ્યું. તો એઝ માણસ આપણા પાસે કેવી રીતે પાંખડિયા આવશે? કે ક્યાં પાંખડિયાની વાત કરે છે? એ એવા રૂહાનિયતના પાંખડિયાની વાત કરે છે કે જે આપણા માટે મુમકિન છે કે આપણા પાસે હોય અને આપણે ઉડીને શાને જઈને મળીએ. એક એવો નુરાની રૂહાની બદન આપણે મળે કે આપણે ઉડીને જઈને મળે. તો કહેવાનો મકસદ છે કે જેટલી ચીજો દુનિયાના અંદર વધારે આપણે સાયન્ટિફિક તરક્કીના હિસાબે જોઈ રહ્યા છીએ, હકીકતના અંદર આ બધી ઝલકીઓ છે જે રૂહાનિયતની તરક્કીના અંદર પહેલેથી જ મોજૂદ છે. સાયન્સ તો આ જ જાયગી છે, રૂહાનિયતમાં આ ચીજો પહેલેથી મોજૂદ હતી. તો અહીંયા આપણને એ સમજાવવામાં આવે છે કે હઝરત આદમ અલૈહિસ્સલામ જે હતા, જે આપણા જેમ એક મુસ્તજીબ હતા, એ એટલી મહેનત કરી ઇસ્મે આઝમ ઉપર, અને જ્યારે ખુદાએ એને ખલીફા બનાવ્યો, તો પછી આદમે કેવી રીતે ફરિશ્તાને શીખાવ્યો? આદમની જે તાલીમાત હતી એ મોમિનોના દિલના અંદર દેવામાં આવી, એના દિલના અંદર શીખાડવામાં આવી. મતલબ શું થયું કે જ્યારે બી કોઈ ઇમામના સાથે એક થઈ જાય છે, તો ઇમામના સાથે એનો જે સંબંધ થાય છે એ એનો રૂહાનિયતના અંદર સંબંધ થાય છે. રૂહાનિયતના અંદર એ ઇમામના પાસે જઈને ઇમામથી તાલીમ હાસિલ કરી શકે છે, અને કોઈ દીવાર કે કોઈ અડચણ કે કોઈ મુશ્કેલ છે જ નહીં. તો આપણે બહાર જોઈએ કે આપણે અંદર જોઈએ, આ બે ચીજોના અંદર આપણને ખુદાની ઘણી બધી નિશાનીઓ જોવામાં આવશે. અને જેટલું વધારે આપણે સાચાઈથી ઇબાદત કરીએ છીએ અને ઇલ્મ વધારે લઈએ છીએ, એટલું જ વધારે ને વધારે આપણી આંખો જે છે ને ખુલતી જશે, અને આપણે પોતે માજીઝાતને જોઈ શકશું. દુનિયાના અંદર પણ માજીઝા છે, ખુલ્લી આંખથી જોઈ શકીએ માજીઝા છે, અને આપણા અંદર આપણા પોતાની શખ્સિયતના અંદર, જેને આલમે શખ્સી કહેવાય છે, આપણા વિચારના અંદર, આપણા દિલના અંદર, આપણા મગજના અંદર પણ એવી બાતની તરક્કી અને તરક્કીથી જે સારા સારા ફળ પેદા થાય છે, એની આપણે સમજણ પોતાના અંદર લઈ શકીએ છીએ. એની ફાયદો, એનો ખુશી બધી આપણે અંદરથી લઈ શકીએ છીએ. તો એ ચીજ આપણને સમજાવવામાં આવી છે કે ઘણા બધા નામ છે, આલમે ઝર કહીએ કે આલમે શખ્સી કહીએ, માઇક્રોકોઝમ કે અનફુસ કહીએ. આ બધી ચીજો જે છે ને એ બધું આપણા અંદર પહેલેથી મોજૂદ છે. હું તમને એક બીજી વાત સંભળાવું અને ઇંગ્લિશમાં, કેમ કે આ સમજમાં આવી જશે કે when we were in REC, I remember as young kids we would go and study this chapter of Bayezid Bustami, that the teacher tells everybody, all the students, right, that you need to go and cut this apple. Everybody goes in the corner and they bring apple in pieces, except this Sufi. He becomes Sufi later on because he was so honest. So his example is taught in REC. He says that I did not find any place where I can cut this apple because I can see that Allah is watching me. Now, why was this taught to us such a long time ago, and how does it relate to us today in the spiritual science chapter? And you'll laugh at me, but let me give you an example, because when I was reflecting, I was like, it is amazing that even on the path of knowledge, there are times we forget that we are being always, every action of ours is seen, every thought is recorded. In today's time, what is happening, everywhere there are cameras, everywhere. Let me give you a simple example, right? That some time ago in our state, we had this cameras on every signal light. So people do always, drive on during the red light. Nobody's there early in the morning time or night time. Who sees? No policeman is there. So nobody stops and goes. But when the cameras were fixed on those signals, nobody would break the law because somebody is watching. And if they are watching, your picture is taken, a ticket will come to your home because the camera recorded it, that you are being watched and you did break the law. Bayezid Bustami, at very young age, he says, I did not find a place where I can, cut this apple. He was so pious at a young age. And we had studied the chapter of taqwa. Taqwa is to watch ourselves all the time. Do not commit sin. Be honest. Whatever it is, whatever flaws, whatever shortcomings, it is who we are. And we take ownership of our mistakes. We are accountable. And we make mistakes. We are humans. But we learn from our mistakes and we grow up. But when we talk about Bayezid Bustami being Sufi at such a young age, he never ever forgets that Allah is watching me. Today, due to technology, we are forced into the society to remember that everywhere we go, there are cameras. We do not know who is recording us. Somebody's house you visit, there are cameras. They know before opening up the door you are at their home outside. So cameras are everywhere. Now people have to behave in a way which is civil. Nobody will do anything wrong because somebody is watching them. It is the fear of being watched that they would not break the law. Do you not see that automatically the people of this world will realize that they need to follow the ethics, taqwa? It is coming regardless of anything. And why is it coming? It is all these inventions actually is making us accountable for our actions. We can no more be ignorant, because if we are ignorant in the physical world, somebody will catch us and we'll be embarrassed. So that is one way of looking at it. But for us who are walking on the path of Ruhaniyat, for us we realize that Allah is watching us all the time. When He is watching, how do we think bad or how do we commit sins? It is not easy. It is not easy to live a life of being very mindful, every step mindfully, every thought mindfully, because Mawla is with us, watching us. So this simple example of being watched through these tiny cameras everywhere nowadays, It's an example for us to realize that we are being watched by the angels who are sitting all the time. Every thought is being recorded. So I hope it makes sense. It is very fascinating when we reflect around us. You know, there is a force. There is a force of ruhaniyat in this world, and everybody will progress, especially Ismailis. People will have ethics, yes, but Ruhani Taraki, Ruhani wings to climb up and fly, it is all for Smileys due to the power of Isme Azam, due to the power of Farman Bardari of Imam. Thank you.
Subhanallah, subhanallah, subhanallah. It's beautiful to understand this, and obviously it gives us much more joy and sense of responsibility at the same time, that is Smiley with the Imam of the time present for us, guiding us at every moment. It is so crucial that we understand and gain knowledge and inshallah progress as Allah wants us to progress. So, Ameen, Ilahi Ameen. Friends, if you have any questions, any comments, any thoughts you would like to share, please come forward. I think we all need to reflect a whole lot on this subject, as such a beautiful topic. So, I have a comment actually shared by Shabira Saiba, and she shares a extract of Maulana Hazar Imam's speech upon the acceptance of charter of the Aga Khan University in 1983. And Mullah says, in Islamic belief, knowledge is twofold. There is that revealed through the Holy Prophet, and that which man discovers by virtue of his own intellect. Nor do these two involve any contradiction, provided man remembers that his own mind is itself the creation of God. Without this humility, no balance is possible. With it, there are no barriers. Indeed, one strength of Islam has always in its belief that creation is not static but continuous, that through scientific and other endeavors, God has opened and continues to open new windows for us to see the marvels of His creation. Subhanallah, subhanallah, subhanallah.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. Yes.
And then Zina Taiba actually comments that Yalimada just wanted to say that never saw AI with that view as a spiritual science. So, subhanallah, subhanallah. Indeed, the camera example truly fits. It's physical actually is door to the batin. As much as we pay attention to our physical self and reflect, as the ayat actually you had it open, Sanurihim ayatina, Surah 45, verse 53, that we do have signs showed to us in our physical world. It's just that we need to stop, pause, and think what it is, and inshallah, open our Chashme Basirat with that. Um, and yes, friends, I will share this speech comment actually which Shabir Sahib shared with everyone so you can access. Any other comments or any other thought which friends would like to share can come forward. And meanwhile, if friends can actually do this one question survey, that would be wonderful. It's posted in the chat. I remember that example you've given one time, I think tapping on the shoulder, when we are making choices and we actually are able to hear in our inner self saying that, should I do this or should I not do this? I think in your taqwa sessions, and it's kind of like tapping on our own self on our shoulder and asking, if I can hear this voice, that means I have a choice to make. So it's amazing to hear these sessions of Book of Healing and being able to implement in our physical lives, recalling these sessions and the explanation. It is amazing. So inshallah, friends, will continue to process this, knowledge, read the chapters, and get more questions, comments, whatever comes forward. Please do share. Um, Zulfikar Sahib is saying, even if Allah is not watching, our conscious knows it. That is the camera.
Thank you, Zulfikar. Thank you. Beautiful.
And Moise Saib also actually shared that I have observed in the Western world a deeply changing pattern of human relations. The anchors of moral behavior appear to have dragged to such depth that they no longer hold firm the ship of life. What was once wrong is not simply unconventional, and for the sake of the individual freedom must be tolerated. What is tolerated soon becomes accepted. Contrary, what was once right is now viewed as outdated, old-fashioned, and is often the target of ridicule. In the face of this changing world, which was once a universe to us and is now no more than an overcrowded island, confronted with a fundamental challenge to our understanding of time, surrounded by a fleet of cultural and ideological ships, which has broken loose, I ask, do we have a clear, firm, and precise understanding of what Muslim societies is to be in times to come? And if, as I believe, the answer is uncertain, where else can we search than in the Holy Quran and in the example of Allah's last and final prophet? And this is, Pakistan's presidential address by Maulana Hazar Imam in International Sirat Conference in 1976. So
Oh, yeah.
shared by Moise Saib. And
Very
then,
important point. Very important. There's so much in that point he has shared that it needs really good, thorough reflection and thinking. Thank you, Moise. Ji,
Niamat Saiba,
ji.
whatever just now you said, I think it's the Sirat conference, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Where Mola Bapa. So when we read that, it is remind me of that Ginan, Das Batiya, Quran le jase, Iman le jase, right?
Yes, so those that Gina, which talks about all the signs of Qiyamah, meaning
Yes,
that the way Moise, this Sirat conference, extract of a speech of Maulana Bapa, that people will think of, these things, these values are, they are outdated,
yes,
and they will not value it. And of course, when we do not, for example, value this knowledge, there are very few who are in Jamaat who truly value this knowledge, right? So when we will do that, what will happen? For them, there is no Quran. Quran is not going anywhere. Its knowledge is not going anywhere. And we just understood that those who are seekers, a time will come for them, these talimat will be given to them in their batin, because physically the journey starts and then the tarakki actually happens in the batin. So it's not about physical Quran being gone or physical this gone or that gone, but that Ginan was made shocking. A lot of dramatization, I would say, Peer had done to kind of grab us and, wake us up, shock us. And whenever we listen to that Ginan, it is shocking because it makes us kind of shiver, like what our peers are teaching us, to make us realize that if we remain ignorant, for us, for that individual, because it's all about making choices, these talimat will be taken away. And life is very short on this planet. Life is very short. And within this lifetime, those who become salik, who become arif, they are able to elevate to that level where they will be closer to Imam. But other than that, people will be here and lost, not benefiting. Man ka janam tu kahe ko khota hai. They lose this janam. For them, the Quran is gone, Hidayat is gone, everything is gone. They've lost everything because despite of all these things present, they never benefited from it. That is what it means. So you are right in relating it.
Subhanallah, Subhanallah. Thank you, Yasmin Saiba, for a beautiful comment. And Saini Saib says that they love the session. So Shukr Maula, Shukr Maula. Thank you, Niamat Saiba, for a beautiful session. Thank you, friends, for joining. Yali Madad, Yali Madad.
Yali madad, yali
Yali
madad,
madad, mulali
yali
madad.
madad,
Yani
Yali
madad.
madad, yali madad.
yali madad,
Jali madad.
yali madad, मेरी जान, yali madad.
याली मदद
चांद रात का फरमान भी बंद कर दिए कल से, सुल्तान मुशा का जो पढ़े जाता था।
I know, I
So,
heard it, yes. फरमान
या
को और आर्टिकल को साथ कर दिया,
आर्टिकल
right?
को और खाली 2-3 लाइन पढ़ी गई और बस बाकी वो सारा कुछ हटा दिया। अभी हमेशा यही रहेगा। So I was so upset.
रिमेम्बर कि
Anyway,
इसके लिए देखो, दो चॉइस है। अब कुछ लोग ही रह गए हैं तो हम बात कर सकते हैं कि चॉइस जो
जी
है मुझे, कि एक मिसाल हम देते हैं ना, जमात खाने की जो प्रैक्टिसेस होती है ना, जमात खाने में जो इट्स लाइक क्लास वर्क। क्लास में जो ना चीजें छोटी छोटी होती हैं, ब्रीफ होती हैं, बट इट इज एक्चुअली ड्यूरिंग द होमवर्क टाइम जब हमको बहुत ज्यादा टाइम डाल के चीजों को लर्न करना पड़ता है। जमात खाने में ड्यू टू टाइमिंग्स, ड्यू टू वीक डेज, देर आर वेरी मेनी लिमिटेशंस। फिजिकली लाइफ भी लोगों की शायद आसान नहीं है, तो अगर हम लंबा जमात खाना करते हैं तो शायद हाजिरी पे बहुत इफेक्ट पड़ता है। So, they have to draw a balance. But I'm so proud of you that you missed out that farman. How beautiful that would be that you, with your family, read the whole farman in your home on Chandra. Make that a tradition.
थैंक्स फॉर दैट सजेशन।
Yeah,
या थैंक यू
make that a
वेरी मच।
tradition that you read the
या
whole Farman in Chandrat, or in our groups, we can also start posting the whole Farman and we read the whole Farman, because
राइट
we cannot continue to blame कि ये कर दिया वो कर दिया, because वो जो कर रहे हैं
एग्जैक्टली
वो लॉजिकली सोच के कुछ कर रहे हैं, राइट? कोई इनके भी रीजन है,
राइट
लेकिन
या
हमको लॉस फील हो रहा है, तो हाउ डू वी मेक दैट लॉस इनटू बेनिफिट? और अगर हम कर रहे हैं, अपने भाई बहनों को, दोस्तों को भी बताएं, सो हर एक की ये प्रैक्टिस हो, क्योंकि फरमान तो बहुत ज्यादा है। जमात खाने अंदर सारा चीजें नहीं पढ़ाई जा सकती, सब चीजें एम की क्लासेस ये नहीं ली जा सकती हैं। जिसको
या
इंटरेस्ट है ना, जिसको लगा है लॉस, जिसके दिल में दुखा है, वो घर जाकर इसको पढ़ेगा, इसको समझेगा और इसको
एक्चुअली वो
ध्यान
बात नहीं, वो ये कि लाइक पहले से ही लोग बोलते थे ना कि सुल्तान मुशा के फरमान अभी अप्लाई नहीं होते, नहीं पढ़ना है। तो आई ऑलवेज यूज टू टेल ना कि चांद रात को हम पढ़ते हैं और लैलतुल कद्र के दिन पढ़ते हैं, उसूले दिन। तो ना सबको मिल गया, लाइक देखो अभी चांद रात में भी नहीं पढ़ते, तो यू
तो
नो
होता है ना कि मंदिरा, एक चीज होती है कि आपकी बात, आपकी लॉजिक जो है वो सही थी। अभी भी जो है गुजराती के फरमान समटाइम्स जमात खाने में सुबह भी इमाम सुल्तान बादशाह के पढ़ाए जाते हैं। तो
नहीं,
डिपेंडिंग,
अभी हमारे पास तो टोटली बंद हो गए।
टोटल बंद हो गया, या
जी
इट्स अनफॉर्चुनेट। कभी कभी सुनाई दे देता है, नॉट ऑलवेज, यू आर राइट अबाउट इट एक्चुअली। तो जिनको इंटरेस्ट है ना, जिनको शौक है ना, जिनको समझ है इन बातों की, वो खुद से मेहनत करेंगे, इस रास्ते को ढूंढ लेंगे और अपने आप को आगे तरक्की पे ले जाएंगे। लेकिन जिन लोगों को नहीं इंटरेस्ट है, जिनके पास टाइम की कमी है, क्योंकि टाइम बहुत मैटर करता है ना, इसलिए तो इमाम ने फरमाया ना, टाइम और नॉलेज का नजराना। इस वक्त जो है आप और हम यहाँ मौजूद हैं, तो ये हमारा टाइम और नॉलेज का नजराना हो गया ना। इसके लिए कुर्बानी चाहिए, नींद की कमी चाहिए, टीवी को छोड़ना चाहिए। सब ये कुर्बानी शायद नहीं कर सकते हैं, सबके लिए शायद प्रायोरिटीज डिफरेंट है। तो रिमेंबर, इट इज ऑल अबाउट आवर इंडिविजुअल चॉइसेस कि हम क्या चूज कर रहे हैं। जिसकी जो चॉइस है वो उसकी मर्जी से, उसके लिए ठीक है, तो दैट्स ऑल राइट। सही है ना?
يا المداد
याली मदद,
Yali Madad, Yali Madad.